Dear students, in the previous lecture, you learnt about Kirchhoff's laws and its application in Whetstone's bridge, and also meter bridge, which is designed on the principle of Whetstone's network and used to find resistance of any conductor. Another important device that you have to study in this current electricity is potentiometer. This potentiometer, it is an instrument used to find EMF of a cell. It is used to find EMF, to find internal resistance of a cell, and it is used to find potential difference between 2 points in a conductor, and also it is used to compare EMFs of cells. So for all these purposes, you can use a potentiometer. So basically, a potentiometer is used to measure potential difference. Even you can use a voltmeter also for measuring the potential difference. But potentiometer, it is a more accurate device and also more sensitive device to find the potential difference rather than a voltmeter. Understand? So the basic difference between potentiometer and voltmeter is, though both can be used to measure the potential difference, the main difference between a potentiometer and voltmeter is a voltmeter draws some current from the source and measures potential difference, whereas a potentiometer, without drawing any current from the source, it can measure the potential difference. That is the difference between the two. So a potentiometer is considered to be a more accurate device to measure the potential difference rather than a voltmeter. And one more thing is, by using this potentiometer, you can measure small potential differences of the order of millivolts or even microvolts. Now we shall study the principle and working of this potentiometer. You are going to see this potentiometer board in the laboratory. This potentiometer, it consists of a uniform wire of length ranging from 1 meter or 4 meter even up to 10 meter. That depends upon how much potential difference to be measured. So a potentiometer board, this is a wooden board. On this potentiometer board, there will be two connecting terminals, and between these two connecting terminals, a uniform wire of length 4 meter or 10 meter is stretched between these 2 points. For example, for the potentiometer which you are going to use in the laboratory, in our laboratory, there is a wire of length 4 meter. So from here to here it is 1 meter, then from here to here it is 2 meters, then from here to here it is 3 meter, and here to here it is 4 meter. Like that, a uniform wire is stretched between these 2 points A and B. Next, beside this wire, a meter scale is fixed here. Here there will be a meter scale which consists of graduations in centimeter and millimeter like this. So this is called the potentiometer board. So AB is the wire. Now this potentiometer, it works on the principle that the potential difference to be measured, it is proportional to length of this wire. You will understand this thing by means of this experiment. Determination of potential difference using a potentiometer. Here this is the wire AB. Of length L. AB is of length L meter, and let R be resistance of potentiometer wire. That means this small r, it is the total resistance of this wire from A to B. Now a potential difference is applied across this wire AB by using a cell or a battery. So here is a cell of EMF E, and this cell is connected in series with a plug key and a standard resistance R, and the other end of this R is connected to B. So this is called the primary circuit. So here there is a cell of EMF E. Its internal resistance is negligibly small. That's why I did not consider it. Because the internal resistance of the cell, it is negligibly small when compared to this resistance, standard resistance unplugged here. So we need not consider the internal resistance of the cell. So across this wire AB, a cell and external resistance R both are connected in series, and this series combination is connected in parallel across this AB. This cell drives a current in the circuit. Therefore, current in potentiometer wire, this I is equal to E divided by R plus R, because current is the ratio of net EMF divided by total resistance. So this E divided by R plus this resistance R, it will give you current in the wire. Now, whatever potential difference is applied across AB, that potential difference is uniformly distributed along this length of the wire, because its resistance per unit length is constant, because uniform wire means resistance per unit length is constant. So same current being flowing through this same current I, it being flowing through this applied the potential difference across AB, it is distributed uniformly along the length of the wire. So this potential difference is equal to I into R, resistance of this wire. So this resistance of the wire, it is given by rho L divided by A, rho L by A. Therefore this potential difference is directly proportional to length. So if I, instead of considering the total length, if I consider a small length L, for a given potentiometer, this is a constant. So this V is proportional to L. That means potential difference across the wire, it is proportional to length. So if I take a small length, potential difference will be smaller. If I take a large length, the potential difference becomes larger. And based on this idea only, it can be used to measure the potential difference. So this circuit is called primary circuit. Here there is a cell which drives current through this resistance, say R1. This is E1 and this is R1. So this cell is driving current through this, therefore there is a potential difference across this. To measure the potential difference across this R, this is to be connected in the secondary circuit to the potentiometer. That means this higher end and this higher potential end, it is connected to this A. This lower potential end, it is connected to a galvanometer and it is connected to a sliding contact. So this is the potential difference which we want to measure, potential difference across this R1. So the potential difference to be measured, it is connected in the secondary circuit. This is called the secondary circuit. This is called the primary circuit. The secondary circuit must be in parallel with these 2 points. So we want to measure the potential difference across this R1. The higher potential end is connected to A, lower potential end is connected to a galvanometer, and other end of galvanometer is connected to a sliding contact. Now you check this circuit for opposite deflection. You move this sliding contact to the end A, deflection will be one side. When you move the sliding contact to the end B, deflection must be exactly opposite side. That means at A and at B, you should get opposite deflection in the galvanometer. So once you get the opposite deflection, you go on moving the sliding contact from the end A towards the end B. On the wire AB, starting from one end A, you keep on moving the sliding contact over this wire, and at one particular point, say J, current through the galvanometer is 0. At one particular point J, current through the galvanometer is 0. So when this current through the galvanometer becomes 0, when the potential difference across the wire AG becomes equal to potential difference across this, then it becomes 0. So this point is called balancing point, and this length is called balancing length, represented as small l. So this capital L is total length of the wire AB. This small l is balancing length. So this is the current in this potentiometer wire. Therefore, potential difference across AB, in the absence of the secondary circuit, potential difference across AB is this current into resistance of the wire R. So this is ER divided by R plus R. This is the potential difference across AB. Now, potential difference per unit length of potentiometer wire. See, this total potential difference, it is distributed in the entire length of the wire. So potential difference per unit length of potentiometer wire, it is E R divided by R plus R L. So this is potential difference per unit length of the potentiometer wire. Now this potential difference per unit length, this is also called as potential gradient. Potential gradient, this is represented as phi. This phi is equal to VAB divided by L. So potential difference across AB, this you can write it as VAB. So VAB divided by L. So this phi is equal to ER divided by R plus R into L. You remember this expression for this potential gradient. In solving numerical problems, you need to know this equation. So this is volt per meter, this is the unit. In this expression, this EMF, E, it is nothing but the EMF in the primary circuit. Don't confuse this one and this one. This E is EMF in the primary circuit. This small r, it is not the internal resistance of the cell. Because in case of potentiometer, internal resistance of cell will be negligibly small. That is why we do not take that into consideration. But this small r here represents the resistance of the potentiometer wire AB. Resistance of this entire wire AB. And this capital R is series resistance connected here. So this is series resistance. And this L is total length of the wire. So this potential gradient, I mean the potential difference across AB, it being distributed in the entire length of the wire, per unit length this much of potential difference will be there. That is called potential gradient. As you all aware, gradient means change with respect to distance. So from the end A, you go on moving towards B, the potential increases. So there is a change in potential with length. That is why it is called potential gradient. That potential gradient is VAB divided by L. So VAB divided by L, and this VAB divided by L can be written like this, is called potential gradient. Now the potential difference which is to be measured, it is connected in the secondary circuit. After connecting this, if you get the balancing point here, then between the points A and J, this wire and this potential difference and this potential difference will become equal as they are in parallel. So when R1 is connected in secondary circuit, if balancing point is obtained at J, this AJ becomes equal to L, which is called balancing length. So balancing point means it is the point where current through the galvanometer is 0. So when the current through the galvanometer becomes 0, you measure the length of the potentiometer wire from the end A, from here to here. That is balancing length L. Therefore, potential difference across R1 V is equal to this phi into L. Phi into L. Because per unit length, this is the potential difference. For length L, potential difference is phi into L. So this V is equal to ER divided by R plus R into L into L. This is the formula which you have to use to find the potential difference using a potentiometer. So if you understand this theory, you can easily remember the equation. So I said that in the primary circuit, this is the current. Therefore, the potential difference across AB is this much. And potential difference per unit length is this much. This is called potential gradient given by this formula. Next, the potential difference which is to be measured, it is connected in the secondary circuit such that the higher potential end is connected at A, lower potential end is connected to a galvanometer, other end of galvanometer is connected to jockey. After making this connection, if you press the jockey at end A, deflection in the galvanometer will be one side. When you press it end B, deflection will be in the opposite side. So if you keep on moving the sliding contact over the wire from the end A towards end B, at some point J, current through the galvanometer becomes 0. This point is called balancing point, and this corresponding length measured from the end A, it is called balancing length. For this balancing length, current through the galvanometer becomes 0 because the potential difference across the wire AJ, it becomes equal to potential difference across this one because both are in parallel. You know that in parallel combination, potential difference will remain same. So across AJ, the wire and this resistance R1 both being parallel, when this potential difference becomes equal to this potential difference, the current through the galvanometer will become 0. That is how you get this balancing point. So at the balancing point, this potential difference is equal to potential difference across the wire AJ. Per unit length, this is the potential difference. Therefore, for length L, the potential difference will become phi into L. Phi into L. So, by using this formula, by finding the balancing length, you can find the potential difference between any 2 points in a circuit. See, in this circuit, between these 2 points, this is the potential difference. So, what is the principle of potentiometer? This one. Potential difference. Potential difference in secondary circuit. It is proportional to balancing length. So this V proportional to L, V proportional to L, so V is equal to phi L. This is called the principle of potentiometer. What is this phi? It is potential gradient which is given by this formula, ER by R plus R into L. So, in JEE mains or NEET examination, sometimes there will be problems based on this potentiometer. Wherever you come across a problem in potentiometer, you remember this equation. V is equal to phi L, where phi stands for potential gradient. This potential gradient is given by this relation. ER by R plus R into L. So, by remembering these points, you can easily solve any type of problem given in the competitive examinations. So, this is how the potentiometer measures the potential difference. See here, to measure the potential difference, no current is drawn here because current through the galvanometer is 0. At balancing length, current through the galvanometer is 0. That means no current is drawn from this source to measure the potential difference here. Suppose if you want to measure the potential difference using a voltmeter. So, in this circuit, if I want to measure the potential difference using a voltmeter, what I have to do? I have to connect a voltmeter like this. This voltmeter draws some negligibly small current like this. It draws a small current and then measures the potential difference. Understand? So, the potential difference measured by a voltmeter, it is less accurate compared to that of a potentiometer. Hence, a potentiometer is considered to be a more accurate device to measure the potential differences. Next, in the laboratory, you are doing two experiments using this potentiometer. The first experiment is comparison of EMFs of two cells. Using potentiometer. This is one experiment. Comparison of EMFs of two cells using potentiometer. So, in this experiment, you will be given two cells, you have to compare their EMFs. Comparison means you have to find the ratio of EMFs. See, the two cells whose EMF is to be found. So, this is one cell of EMF E1. This is another cell of EMF E2. You connect these two cells in parallel by using a two-way key like this. So, this key is K1, this key is K2. So, here there will be a connecting terminal. So, this is a two-way key. You connect a sensitive galvanometer to this, and other end of this galvanometer is connected to a jockey. And these positives are connected to the end A of this potentiometer wire. This is the circuit. So, in all experiments with potentiometer, the primary circuit will remain same. The two cells whose EMFs are to be compared, they are connected in parallel by using the two-way key, and the positives are connected to the end A, and the negatives are connected to two-way key, and the middle terminal is connected to galvanometer and galvanometer to jockey. So, first you close this key K. You close the key K. You unplug some suitable resistance here. Next, you close this key K1 and you check the circuit for opposite deflection. That means if you press here, deflection in the galvanometer must be one side, and if you press here, deflection must be in the other side. Similarly, you open K1, you close K2, again you check the circuit for opposite deflection. That means When K1 is closed and K2 is open, only the cell of EMF E1 will be included in circuit. When K1 is open and K2 is closed, only this cell of EMF E2 will be included in circuit and E1 is excluded. So, for both cells E1 as well as E2, you check opposite deflections at the end A and end B. In case if you could not get opposite deflection, you change the resistance here. You keep a suitable resistance such that for E1 and also for E2, separately you will get opposite deflection at ends A and B. So once you check the circuit for opposite deflection, you close K1 alone, open K2. This K must be always closed. Close K, you close K1 and open K2. Now you go on moving this sliding contact from the end A towards end B. At some point, say here, you will get balancing point. So you note on the balancing length L1. So this balancing length L1, it is proportional to this one because of this principle. So E1, it is proportional to L1. Therefore E1 is equal to phi L1. You will get balancing length corresponding to the EMF of the first cell. Now what you have to do is, you close K2, open K1, close K2, open K1, then first cell is excluded, only second cell is included in the circuit. Again you move the sliding contact from end A towards end B. So you press the sliding contact over the wire. Again at some point here you will get balancing point and you note down balancing length L2. Therefore this E2 is proportional to L2. This E2 is equal to phi into L2. Phi is potential gradient which is constant for a given potentiometer setup. So E1 by E2, this is equal to phi L1 by phi L2. This term can be cancelled out. So E1 by E2 is equal to L1 by L2. This is the comparison. This is the comparison of EMFs of two cells using a potentiometer. See, this is a very simple experiment. Just you make the connections as shown in the circuit diagram. You close this key, you close K1 and open K2, you find balancing length L1. Next you open K1 and you close K2, then you find balancing length L2. L1 by L2 will give you E1 by E2. So this is how one can compare the EMFs of the two cells using a potentiometer. One more experiment which you are doing using this potentiometer is to determine the internal resistance of a cell. Determination of internal resistance of a cell using potentiometer. So this is the second experiment with the potentiometer. Here the primary circuit will remain same. So here is a cell of EMF E, internal resistance R. So here don't confuse this one and this one. So this is the cell whose internal resistance is to be found. You connect this cell in the secondary circuit like this. You connect the cell in the secondary circuit, and across the cell you connect a plug key and a standard resistance R parallel to the cell. So to avoid this EMF, you write this as E dash and this as R dash, and this is R. Now we want to find the internal resistance of this cell, small r. So first you make the connections as shown in the circuit diagram. You close this key K, this one. Next you open this key K dash. Open this K dash. Close K and open K dash. When you open this K dash, this part is not included in the circuit. The resistance is not included in the circuit. Now you check for opposite deflection in the galvanometer on either side, A and B. Once you get the opposite deflection, you keep on moving the sliding contact on the wire from end A towards end B. At some point you will get the balancing point. So you note down the balancing length L1. Note down balancing length L1. So this E, it is proportional to L1. Understand? So when the potential difference across the wire AG, potential difference across the wire AG is equal to, here, the potential difference across the cell, you will get balancing length L1. Now what you do? So E is proportional to L1, so E is equal to phi L1, where phi is potential gradient. In the next case, you close K and K dash both. This one also. When you close this one, this also includes in circuit. This also included in circuit. Again, you unplug some suitable resistance here. You keep a few resistance, 1 ohm like that. Very small resistance. 0.1 ohm or 1 ohm like that. Very small resistance here. You keep a small resistance here. And you check the circuit for opposite deflection at end A and B. Now you go on moving this sliding contact on the wire from end A towards end B. At some point you will get balancing point, and you wrote down the corresponding balancing length. So when you get this balancing point here, when the potential difference across this wire AJ is equal to terminal potential difference across this. Understand? So when you get zero deflection in the galvanometer means when the potential difference across the wire AJ becomes equal to potential difference across the external resistance here, which is equal to terminal potential difference across the cell. When this potential difference, this potential difference, this potential difference all becomes equal, you will get balancing point. So this V it is proportional to phi, V is proportional to L2, balancing point. So this V, it is equal to phi L2. What is this V? It is terminal potential difference across R, capital across R, across this R, this one. So what is the formula for this terminal potential difference? ER divided by R plus R. This is the cell which drives the current in it like this. So this cell drives the current in this external secondary circuit like this. So this terminal potential difference is ER divided by R plus R. This is equal to phi divided by L2. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. Now I divide equation 1 by 2. So this E divided by ER by R plus R, this is equal to phi L1 divided by phi L2. This term and this term cancels. This E and E cancels. R plus R divided by R is equal to L1 by L2. If I divide the numerator and denominator with R here, this side, so it is 1 plus R divided by R. This is L1 by L2. So R by R is equal to L1 by L2 minus 1. R by R is equal to L1 by L2 minus 1. Therefore, this R is equal to capital R into L1 by L2 minus 1. So this can also be written as R into L1 minus L2 divided by L2. So this is the formula which you are using in the laboratory to find the internal resistance of the given cell. Actually, in the laboratory, for different values of this R, you are finding L2. Of course, L1 is to be found only once. For different values of R, you are finding L2, and by finding R different trials, by finding R different trials, you have to find the internal resistance of the cell, average internal resistance of the cell. So this is about determination of internal resistance of a cell using a potentiometer. So these two experiments are there for your practical course using potentiometer. So from this chapter, mainly you are doing 3 experiments. One is meter bridge and 2 potentiometer experiments in the laboratory course, including Ohm's law, 4 experiments in all. So in this chapter alone, we have 4 experiments: Ohm's law, verification of Ohm's law, series parallel combination, and then meter bridge, and 2 experiments with potentiometer. So for the examination point of view, it may be board examination or it may be competitive examination, this is a very important chapter. So this completes this current electricity. So in this current electricity, you come across many equations. First, you learnt about this definition of current. I is equal to Q divided by T. Time rate of flow of charge, or a net flow of charge across any section of a conductor per second is a measure of current, electric current. So it is a scalar quantity, and the direction of current is always from higher potential to lower potential, or direction of current is the direction along which positive charge moves, or direction of current is always opposite to direction of motion of electrons. You remember all the three statements. One is direction of current is from higher potential to lower potential, or it is the direction along which a positive charge moves in a circuit, or the direction of current is always opposite to direction of motion of electrons. So it will give you the direction of current. So in case of DC, what you call direct current, though we mention the direction, current is not a vector, it is a scalar quantity. Next, after this, you studied about this Ohm's law, V is equal to I into R. And you studied about the resistivity. So this R can be written as rho L divided by A. Rho L by A. And you also written this equation as ml divided by Na E square tau. I am not writing anything new. The equations which I derived, I mentioned here. So this is Ohm's law. This is the expression for resistance. This is resistivity rho L by A, and that becomes Na E square, ml by Na square tau. So from this you got this conductivity Na E square tau. This is the expression for conductivity. I told that this derivation is important. And you derived the expression for this drift velocity E tau by m. This is the expression for drift velocity. And in terms of electric current, the drift velocity and electric current, they are written as NAEVD. This is the relation between drift velocity and electric current. Next, this same Ohm's law, in terms of current density, it can be written like this. J is equal to sigma E. What is this J? Current density. Amount of current passing normally through unit cross-sectional area of a conductor, current density. And this sigma is conductivity. This E is electric field. So in vector form, they can be written like this. After the resistivity, conductivity, drift velocity, you also studied about mobility, mu. This is the drift velocity per unit electric field, which is equal to E tau by m. This is the expression for drift velocity. Next, this drift velocity is a scalar quantity. Next, for any conductor, the relaxation time tau, it depends on temperature. Therefore, the resistance and resistivity, they depend on temperature. So the dependence of resistivity on temperature is written like this. Rho T is equal to rho naught into 1 plus alpha T minus T naught. This can also be written as rho T is equal to rho naught into 1 plus alpha T. where this T stands for absolute temperature and this T stands for temperature in degree Celsius. Next, from this you have also written the equation for resistance. So resistance at temperature T, absolute temperature T, can be written as R naught into 1 plus alpha T minus T naught. This can also be written as RT is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha T. So the resistance and resistivity both vary in the same way with respect to temperature. And this alpha, it can be written as RT minus R naught divided by R naught into T. And the same expression for alpha in terms of resistances at two different temperatures can be written as R2 minus R1 divided by R1 T2 minus R2 T1. So this equation, it shows the linear variation of resistance with the temperature. And in case of semiconductors, for semiconductors, the resistance varies with temperature as R is equal to A e to the power of B divided by T. So all these equations are interrelated. Next, after this you studied about series resistance and parallel resistance. Rs is equal to R1 plus R2. 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. I took only two resistances in series and in parallel. So this branch current I1, it is equal to main current into resistance of other branch divided by sum of resistances. So I1 can be written like this, and I2, it can be written as R1 plus IR1 divided by R1 plus R2. So after this series and parallel resistances, you obtain the equation for power VI, which is equal to I square R, which is equal to V square R. So you derived the expression for power and also power dissipated in transmission cables. So it is P square by V square. This power dissipated in cables. So it is P square by V square into RC. So PC is equal to I square RC. So I is equal to P divided by V. So this is the expression for power dissipated in transmission cables. Next, after this, you studied about current in a circuit. This I is equal to E divided by R plus R, where this R is external resistance, this small r is internal resistance. So from this equation, you got this terminal potential difference as ER divided by R plus R, and this V, terminal potential difference, it is less than EMF, like this, and this expression for current I can also be written as E minus V divided by R. So from this you learned that E becomes equal to V if R is equal to infinity or small r is equal to 0. Terminal potential difference becomes equal to EMF when external resistance is equal to infinity and internal resistance is equal to 0. After this you studied about combination of cells. So effective equivalent EMF in series combination, it is E1 plus E2, E1 plus E2, and R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2. So in case of parallel, this is in series. In case of parallel combination, this E equivalent divided by R equivalent is equal to E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2 and so on. So this is about the series and parallel combination of cells. After this, you studied about this Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law. That is algebraic sum of currents is equal to 0 in a junction, and in a mesh algebraic sum of EMFs and algebraic sum of potential differences, it is equal to 0. So this is Kirchhoff's voltage law. As an application of this, you studied about Whetstone's network. In a Whetstone's network balanced condition, P by Q is equal to R divided by S, and based on this idea, in a meter bridge, the external resistance is given by standard resistance divided by 1 minus L. After this, you studied about this potentiometer. So in current electricity, you come across many formula like this. Unless you are thorough with all these equations, you will not be able to find solutions for numerical problems. So in the next class, I am going to solve the numerical problems from this current electricity.